So, welcome back here to our afternoon session. Please take a seat. And we hope you had a good lunch to be prepared for the afternoon. I mean, this morning it was very tight, and it was also heavy topics. Heavy stuff which we heard from different parts of the world. So, and the biggest challenge is, I guess, to bring it to the table, to bring it into words. That is the first step that is necessary. I just want to remind you that at 3:30 we have a group photo at the atrium. 3:30. After your group work this afternoon, you will have group work. And then 3:30 is the break, and 3:30 we will also do a group photo in the atrium outside. Okay, are you ready for the afternoon? Okay, refreshed hopefully and with new energy. I invite Tina, where's Tina? I invite Tina to introduce the group work.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you managed to have some food. Okay, a few things. So this is like a commercial break. I would like to ask the group facilitators to please try and finish at 3:20. 3:20. That's not 3:30, that's not 3:40, but 3:20. Okay, we have a lot to talk about, I'm sure, but 3:20. That gives you 10 minutes to make yourselves beautiful. Some of us need longer than 10 minutes, but anyway, speaking personally, because at 3:30 we will have a group photograph in the atrium. Okay, so the photographers will be upstairs. You know the routine, those of you who've been here before, and we will have like an aerial photograph of all of us. So please, 3:30 photograph, and then you can reward yourself with tea, coffee, whatever. But could the moderators, at 3:20, I will be at the desk. I want your piece of paper. Your piece of yellow paper, because again, and now I have less than 30 minutes to put something together before you see what is now becoming the Peter and Tina show at 4 o'clock, okay? So do not leave at 4 o'clock, okay? It'll be equally entertaining. We're thinking about organizing, maybe, this has been a transformation for both of us, and I can talk because he's not in the room. We're thinking of starting a late night chat show on safeguarding. Anyway. I keep forgetting, of course, people are watching this online. I get very rude messages from some of my friends. Okay, so photo 3:30, finish your workshops 3:20. Please get the form to me. You are going to focus on what Peter has created, which we're calling the 10 Commandments or 10 Principles around culture and safeguarding. They are not the 10 Commandments of safeguarding. It's around the impact of culture on safeguarding. Lots of people have asked me about the presentations. They will be uploaded over the coming days onto the IADC website. You can download them there for an enormous amount of money. No, you get them free, okay? But it does say, you know, donations to Tina Campbell. No, okay. No, you get them. You can download them, and they will remain there for a while. Okay. So it's important that you know that. Because at 4 o'clock we'll be having a very interactive session, this is probably my last time to say again my thanks to the online facilitators of the preparatory phase working groups, and my gratitude to the moderators for the on-site groups. Okay, you are free to go to your groups. Please take some water with you if you need. Thank you very much. Okay.
So they know what to do? Okay.
The instructions are very clear in the packs.
Okay. So please take your seats. I do not know who, I mean, maybe Tina put it already. What's it? Yes, that's her staff, So I hope you had good conversations in your groups. Okay. Okay, so please have a seat.
Where's the star? Oh, he's there.
He's there.
Star of the show.
Okay, and I will give the word to
We need 2 microphones, I think. Okay.
Father Peter Beer and Tina.
2 microphones. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you have had a very, thank you. I hope you have had a very engaging time in your on-site working groups, or for some of you, racing back after a late lunch. And my gratitude again to the moderators of the online working groups who have sent me the results of their prioritizations. Very interesting. I will capture some of it. It's not possible for me to capture 10 groups' prioritization. And in fact, in one group, which was very interesting, oh, now I can see who was probably in it. They could only agree on 3 of the 10 points. So I think they need some special help. Anyway, okay. You were given the excuse me. You were given the 10 principles or commandments to work with. So very quickly, number 1 was listening. That's not a bad thing to talk about in terms of safeguarding. Number 2 was a combination of interacting positively, listening, and trying to understand. I think that links very well. The third priority was interacting positively, asking for clarification, and trying to understand. That makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm sure it did to you. Number 3 was trying to understand, interacting positively, asking for clarification, and identifying one's own uncertainties and feelings of unease. I think I would say that is quite a challenging one. I think somebody would agree. Number 5, again, clarification, identifying uncertainties and unease, then learning from one another, which I hope has happened here, and being inspired and open to change, and then identifying red flags together. I think we all understand the concept of red flags. The 6th in the list was red flags, explaining oneself and taking time to experiment and allow yourself to be challenged. I think that's a very brave step to take Take time, experiment, and allow yourself to be challenged. That's not for the faint-hearted. Number 7 was identifying, again, uncertainties and feelings of unease, seeking expert advice from multiple perspectives, and then learning from one another. Number 8 was explaining oneself, identifying red flags and seeking advice. Number 9, so we're going quite low down on your priorities here, but it's okay. Number 9 was learning from one another. That's interesting. Taking your time to experiment and allow yourself to be changed. That's a huge risk for some of us, but it's worth doing. And then number 10 was seeking expert advice from multiple perspectives and identifying red flags. Okay. It's a snapshot of the priorities of the 10 principles or commandments that you have been working with this afternoon. And what I will do at some point over the summer is try and put this into more of a cohesive report so you have an understanding of what this particular conference decided or what your priorities are about. Okay. I will now you are encountering what we are now we have today decided in a moment of serious discernment as the Tina and Peter late night show on safeguarding. Okay.
Yes, it works. Though you can hear me. Okay. So I know, like yesterday, it's late in the afternoon, and it was a very strong day today. And I think it's difficult to be always awake, to be always concentrated. So, hi, you have to say something? No? No, don't like it? Okay. So we will try again, do these 10 commandments in practice and try to do a little bit of this edutainment to understand again what we are talking about. And to start with a symbol of this, I have selected my most beloved participant of this meeting, Carlo. Let's say Roberto, okay? Carlo Bellardi. He helped me yesterday already for explaining the different grades of what does it mean to be safe. You remember he was sitting here and I tried to protect him against you. And today we will show another thing. We will show what does it mean to do safeguarding with a one-dimensional perspective. I have for explaining this, some ingredients. Scotch, string, scissors, and some sweets for me. So one for me. Yes, one for him, one for me. So when we have this one-dimensional, Carlo, please, in this one-dimensional, realizing safeguarding is a very strong thing because, yes, thank you. It's very strong because there is no contradiction if you have no other perspective. No, stay calm, yeah? So, though you have one perspective and nobody will criticize you, and everything will work because nobody has some criticism for you. It's only one perspective. And the longer you are only with your thoughts, with your words, oh, now I'm a little bit hoo-hoo. Then you will recognize that you are fixed in your own thoughts and perspectives. And this perspective means only one system of safeguarding, Only I am knowing what is the meaning of safe. Only I am knowing the right guidelines. Only me is possible to recognize the real risks in life. And then...
I'm coming with
Yes.
Tina is coming with the scissors.
Only here.
Oh, only
Only here.
Okay.
Thank you, Tina. So, now he is safe, okay? So, okay, thank you. Take a seat. No. So, one perspective, safeguarding isn't safe. If you want not to capture somebody, if you want to strengthen somebody, if you want to protect somebody to be free, then one perspective safeguarding doesn't work. You have to free yourself, and to free yourself in a multipolar safeguarding understanding is a way out of the prison of your own thoughts, your own perspectives. It's intercultural safeguarding. What this multipolar safeguarding means, I want to explain and to show you with another picture. He's now gone, but I need another one. No. So Tina. No, we have to free him. No, not the shirt. So,
boundaries.
yes. Okay, she explained me boundaries. I have to be in distance to her.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit quicker, please. Oh. I hope you have no medical issues now.
Thank you, Peter.
Yes.
I released you. It's okay.
Okay, but it is important to see this because you can see it's very difficult, but to be serious now, it's very difficult to free to free oneself from your own perspective. Because we are used so strongly to our own perspective that we are thinking this is the world, this is normality, but it's only our perspective. It takes a lot of time to be free again.
Do you want to be totally free?
More or less, yes.
More or less.
Okay, you have only to... Oops.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, stand still.
So, we started meanwhile with another explanation. It's about the multipolar safeguarding. This means that we are unifying and bringing in dialogue different perspectives, different cultures. So please have in mind that everybody of you is representing one culture. So can I have one finger from you? Please wrap this string around one finger. One finger, yes, so it's okay, so, okay? Then also you. One finger, so please have it, fix it around your finger. So, yes, your finger and then this finger and also this in, okay, in this direction, please. Yes. And another one, over there, you. And then in this direction, please. Okay.
You have no power on this process.
No, this is, the process is now Yes. I now I'm fearful. Yes, I'm. Okay. So, bring it in this direction, please. Will you help us too? So, okay, thank you. Another one? Oh, yes, you're also German, huh?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. So we try one thing. Please, one finger. You also one finger. You can also. Okay. So, and you, please, also you. And then this direction. You have also, and you can down, yes, so more or less, but don't make a strangulation to the neighbor. No, so here. Okay. So, multipolar safeguarding. We are connected everybody from, oh, I was afraid this, I thought this is your microphone. I thought this is the string. So, multipolar safeguarding means everybody from you is representing one culture, one perspective, one possibility to realize safeguarding regarding the content, regarding the presentation, regarding the communication, regarding the method. So now I have one bag for you who is connected with these. You can take this with this string. Please stand up who has his finger with this string. Please stand up. Everybody who has fingers in this row with this string. The others can see there are a lot of people connected now. They are the safeguarding team. And safeguarding in a multipolar understanding means not one person is safeguarding. Together we are safeguarding. Together we are safeguarding with specific competencies, specific perspective. And now my request to you is, without losing the string on your finger, without losing contact, please come to me. So observe very, very precisely. Observe. What is happening? Come to me. So stop in this moment. This does only work because there is the trust that everybody is willing to move himself or herself. Without this trust, there will be no motivation. The string will not be one line. It is overstretched. How you call it when it is? You will come like? Yeah, you lose it and it will rain. Yes. So move on. Stop. Now they have some rows in this chaos, and this shows every person is starting from a different starting position. Every person, every culture has other conditions to start. It's difficult to move. And then the next step, come closer. Stop. Now it's a little bit more order in this chaos, but it was not a direct move. It was step by step. Some moved backwards to go forward. Some moved forward and others beside. Because it's not one direction. It's a type of communication. It's a type of interacting, not with one direction. It's different directions, different possibilities, different speeds, but we are always connected, and nobody can say, I'm the first, I'm the first. This will not work. Please move on. So, in this direction, please. I think this is clapping the hand, please, for these guys. So, thank you for willing to do this, but please stay. There's another element we have to have in mind. When we are in contact to each other, when we are stay connected and we are moving ourselves, we have another position as before. We have another perspective. We have a change of our own culture. It's a very dynamic situation. Safeguarding is not once done forever. It's one stage in a very long process of change. It's an ongoing change management when we are willing to be in contact with other cultures, with other interested persons in safeguarding. It has worked only when we are agreeing in one thing, and this is that we are willing to protect vulnerable persons and to protect those who are in need for help. But what this is the meaning for, we have always to stay in contact, we have to talk about, we have to discuss it, we have to accept our diversity. And to say it in a theological phrase, you remember the Holy Gospel? Yes, I think so. But in the Holy Scriptures, there is one very, very important image, what we are identified with. It's the body of Christ and the parts of the body of Christ. This means that we have different parts with different competencies, with different capabilities, different possibilities to influence my neighborhood, to create my world. And so it's also in the community of safeguarding. We have different parts, but together we are the body of Christ, and together we have to build the reign of Jesus Christ, and together we will initiate a change. Nobody can do it for him or herself. It's only working when we are in connection, in the understanding of a multipolar safeguarding. So I think in this way it's also a question of not only for science, it's not only a question of the capabilities of safeguarding, it's also for us Catholics a question of spirituality, to realize this basic idea of diversity and unity in the progress of creating in a responsible way our surrounding, our world, our gifts we have accepted and received from God. So thank you very much for your help. Yes. Do it. Yes. Okay. So to make it easier, this process of communication, of interaction, of handling diversity, we have these commandments. Oops. Okay. You can put it down. It's okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. So we have these 10 commandments. These 10 commandments should not limitate you. They should not be a burden for you. It's only a possibility to initiate and to make it easier to stay in contact, to be able to handle all differences and to stay in contact. So Tina, please explain more of your insights.
Thank you. We were talking earlier, myself and Peter, about very often, and particularly in the context of this sort of conference, we listen to people who have, as I mentioned yesterday, they have good policies, they have good safeguarding teams, they have wonderful resources, and sometimes that can dishearten us rather than encourage us. Because sometimes it's wonderful, we go back to our locations and we think, wow, that was lovely, but how are we ever going to be like them? And it's not unusual. Some of the diploma and licentiate students keep in touch with me, and I'm smiling because I've just noted one of them, writing to me when they get back to their location and they say, Tina, I don't have a desk. You know, I thought that I'm here because my bishop sent me, my congregation sent me, and I don't have a desk. What do I do? And I still remember, and he's not here this year. I'm very disappointed not to see him. One of the former graduates, last year he came to me at registration and he said, Tina, you never told me how hard it would be. Because the whole ethos, or one of the aspects of the ethos of the diploma and the licentiate is working together and being very positive and hopeful about making change in the world and establishing good safeguarding, and then going home or to wherever you're missioned and realizing, one or two issues here. If I don't have a desk to work from, if I'm meeting with opposition, what do I do? And I think when we were talking this morning, myself and Peter, about this need in many of us to strive for being the best, which is not a bad thing, to doing good. And it was very interesting standing here, noticing the strings, and I know that particularly, I noticed Ursula from, I can't see you at the moment, thank you Ursula, from Australia. She was sort of saying, please release the pressure on my finger, because some people had moved far away. I thought that was a very symbolic gesture, because that's what it can feel like. We can feel connected, but sometimes that tension can really be painful. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that. And the tensions in terms of how we try and understand each other. And I think what's been very good in these few days, which has felt like a very long few days, is a sense of some of the tensions in terms of our own culture and what you bring. What do you bring for your family of origin? I spoke to the preparatory phase online working groups, facilitators earlier this year when we started this new process with them. And I remember with one or two saying, what do you bring from your family of origin? You bring culture from your family of origin, which is very powerful. And you might decide to negate against it, but sometimes it still returns and overwhelms us. So I think this exercise with the 10 principles has been very good in terms of looking at what does this mean? These are not safeguarding commandments, and Peter wrote them, and that was not his intention. But looking at how do we move forward? I would like to think you would take those home with you as a resource and maybe as a reminder, and perhaps you could use them with your safeguarding teams, because I know a lot of you in this room are members of safeguarding teams. How can we move forward? How do you prioritize what needs to be done? And I think it's particularly wonderful that a good number of you chose interact positively as the first principle. Interact positively. Because, and again, this has come up several times in the last few days, it's too easy for us to sit and think about the negatives. What's not happening? And what's not happening because those in leadership, in whatever shape or form they are not cooperating, they're covering up, they're denying, they're not realizing the reality. It's too easy to get into that negative sort of place, that dark place. And it's very important that we start looking positively, or more positively, and saying, yeah, we talked about that in Rome, and now this is what we're going to do. And I think it would be very helpful to even start thinking about what one or two, no more, one or two actions you could take when you go home. What's your takeaway message? What one or two actions could you put in place in your province, in your diocese, in your parish, in your safeguarding office? One or two things to make a difference would be very helpful, I think. What have you learned? That two things you could put in place. And some of it might mean, wow, I'm going to put those two actions in place, but I'm going to need some help. Well, try and secure that help before you leave. There are good people in this room, very good people in this room, in this sense of collective genius that we have, who can help you. The collective genius is real. Honestly, I think it's really important. There are skilled people who can help you. Okay, so that's more or less where our 10 principles or commandments have taken us. But I think it's really important that you take them with you. Okay. Peter, did you want to identify any of those that you thought were more of a priority? Let me get you a microphone. We have a microphone somewhere? We did? We did have a microphone. Okay. Just for you. Oh, it's right next to you. You're hiding it. Okay.
No, I think we have not to extend these explanations of the 10 Commandments. Again, these 10 Commandments are not safeguarding. Mm-hmm. They are a possibility to talk between different cultures about safeguarding, to develop together a common understanding, what do we want to do and what is important for us. So I think the original row of 10 Commandments was along the process when we are coming in touch with other cultures, when we're coming in touch with other perspectives, so that we are, and I think this is for me the most important thing, also when there are differences, that we can accept and that we have the presupposition that nobody wants, who is engaged in safeguarding, nobody wants to harm another person. Everybody wants the best for the vulnerables, everybody wants the best for the people who are in need, but there are different ways. And when there are differences, this doesn't mean that the other who handles the subjects in a different way, that this means he's a bad guy or she's a bad guy because she's handling the argument of safeguarding in another way. And it's the necessity to come together in a process of asking, not only to give statements. This is all the problem in the science, this is all the problems in dioceses, you know it, or in communities, that there are some people who always make statements and only this is correct, but nobody is asking. And asking is opening my mind for another perspective. And our brother who has spoken from Oxford, I can't see him now, he has spoken about spirituality and safeguarding, I think, and he has spoken about prayer. You have spoken about prayer as a very important thing for safeguarding, and for me, prayer is a possibility for humility. Prayer is the possibility for opening my own mind for another perspective, for another thinking, for another possibility to go to make a new way. So I can show you what I'm meaning with this asking. So Carlo, I need you again. No, now without bondage, okay? Yeah. So when we have, Carlo, thank you. this is the first row of discussion. We are coming in contact, and I'm asking you what you are doing in safeguarding. And he's explaining me his guidelines. He's explaining me what he's doing in all these different aspects of safeguarding. But then behind, there is another level. This is the level of science, because I can ask, why are you doing this? And why are you have these guidelines and not other ones? And so there is another row, another level behind him. So please help me. Sorry. Please direct behind. So I can ask, when I'm addressing him for his guidelines, he's explaining me his guidelines, and why are you doing this? And then we have here the aspect of science. And then we can discuss on a science level about these things when I'm asking, why are you doing this? But you know, there are also different possibilities in science. Science is based on the possibility of variety of theories and the variety of assumptions, what is in the science important or what is less important, what is a different method. And sometimes it's also important to go on in the process of asking, because also behind the level of science there is another level. This is the level, Tina, I have...
No, well, after that boundaries issue yesterday.
Okay. So there's another level. This is the level of meaning. And this is, the level of meaning is very, very difficult, because when we are talking not about the phenomenon of the guidelines, when we are not talking about the level of science, but when we are talking about the level of meaning, we have contact to the relevance of what I am talking about, what I'm thinking about, what has this to do with my life, with my personality. How is my personality influenced? Because this level is also influencing my concrete guidelines. When I have made some experiences with a very oppressive authority in my life, then I will be very, very scary about guidelines which are very strong, very correct, very strict. And so the level of meaning is influencing the level of the guidelines. And it's also influencing my understanding of science. So when you are now in one row, exactly in one row, we have to take care in our thinking. And when we are not be careful in this respect, we cannot do multipolar safeguarding. Because when we are looking on Carlo, directly in one line, we can only see Carlo. We can only see the guidelines, and we are thinking there is no other level. We are talking only about guidelines. We have to ask, and this is my request to you, start asking and don't stop asking for the scientific background, and especially for the meaning for the life of the persons who are involved in the safeguarding efforts, in the safeguarding process. Because when we are asking for the meaning, we are talking about our hearts. We are talking not only about our minds or about our capabilities. Safeguarding has to touch our heart, not only our head, and not only our hands. It's a question of our personality. And this is the problem also in safeguarding in general. It's not enough to have only guidelines on this level and to know everything, but when you are not touched by heart and you are not touched by your attitudes and you are not changing your attitudes, safeguarding is done as soon as possible when there is no money, when there is no, when there is no authority which is giving pressure to me to realize safeguarding. It must be a motivation by myself, by my own, and this is only on this level by the meaning. So my request, and though this will come to an end, long story short, asking for recognizing different levels. Having in mind it's my person who is involved and it's also other persons who are involved. So I have to have a look on the meaning for me and for others to go in this ongoing formation process for safeguarding. Thank you, and also to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they are still here, the sweets. For whom are the sweets?
I have forgotten something. I have bought Orsetti. This means little beers. It's my name, okay? I wanted to finish, but I have forgotten. A little bit empty. I've forgotten. Safeguarding needs also self-guarding, and therefore I have bought these sweets, and I want to thank you again, Carlo, and Tina, for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tina and Father Bear, for this very visual and explanatory session, also creative session. Maybe you take again a few minutes for yourself, just jotting down again, what are your insights from this, seeing Roberto, I think was his name, no? Carlo, no? The being imprisoned, and then the net. No? What does it mean for you now in your situation, and what can you draw for it also for your safeguarding practice? And then we will move into our last block for today. That is, again, some academic papers. And yesterday we heard already Nazir from Lebanon, who had to leave today to go back to Lebanon because of the war situation. So we will have now two presenting sessions. The first one is Sylvester. Sylvester. Father Sylvester, please. And then afterwards, Irene and Christian.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'm here to present the topic of effectiveness of the interculturality of safeguarding through its fundamental principles of compliance, transparency, and accountability. This topic, to some extent, has been explored from the first day by the Cardinal, after Father Zonne, in the afternoon, online presenter from Nigeria, and today, Sister Jose talked about it also somehow. And the last one, Father Peter, yeah, you know, what he's presented here is all about what my topic is about. However, the interest of my presentation is about what Father Peter just said again. The scientific background. The scientific background. So I will not be long because many of us are already tired, but there's a scientific work that has been done on this topic. You know, we are in the era of globalization. Therefore, interculturality integrates not only cultural coexistence, because culture, there's no culture that can survive by itself. A culture is about a group of people, it's about society, human society, and there's no society that can survive by itself. Whether we like it or not, because we have to be in a relationship. And Peter just talked about it. So there is scientific work about it. So interculturality integrates not only cultural coexistence, but also dynamic interaction, understanding, and collaboration. Therefore, incorporating accountability, compliance, and transparency in the interculturality have become crucial for the effectiveness of safeguarding. Even today, United Nations Development Program emphasizes the importance of safeguarding principles to improve sustainable development goals. What are the backgrounds of the work? You know, safeguarding is defined as measures put in place for the protection of vulnerable people. I just want to use vulnerable people. Peter just talked about it. When we talk about vulnerable people, children are very vulnerable, children. So, and adults at risk. So the word vulnerability covers already children, child abuse. So, as such, the interculturality has become necessary in this period of time of globalization. It has become imperative for the success.
Father Sylvester, you have 5 minutes still. I'm just reminding you because people are also tired.
I know, yeah, that's why I want to summarize. So, interculturality has become crucial, and the organizations that fail to take into account interculturality are facing failures. So I just said that there are many scientific work on safeguarding intercultural success. Attention nowadays has been on the relationship between interculturality and safeguarding practices by many organizations. So interculturality has become key because many viewpoints, cultural viewpoints, impact understanding and implementation of protective measures. And organizations engage with cultural details improve their safeguarding practices, resulting in increased trust and cooperation among stakeholders. Many studies have shown that accountability promotes ethical practices, protect vulnerable population and from harm and abuse. Organizations with strong accountability mechanisms are more successful in resolving reports of misconduct and ensuring that cultural sensitivities are respected. Adherence to international standards and to legal framework is key for organizations engaging in intercultural work. Compliance not merely ensures that organizations are largely protected, but also boosts the ability to get around intricate landscapes effectiveness. Organizations that maintain transparency in their processes and decisions foster trust among stakeholders. Transparency helps in narrowing cultural gaps, allowing diverse voices to be heard and incorporated into frameworks of safeguarding. Deficit gap in the literature shows that there is deficit in both qualitative and quantitative. Let me summarize this part. Just attention more. Most of the correct literature, scientific work, pay attention less attention to how cultures define and interpret accountability, compliance, and transparency. So this undermines the effectiveness of safeguarding in the context of incompetence. Current studies in general, scientific work in general, don't take into account the global trends and dynamics. Conclusion, there's limited access to some safeguarding institutions, cultural and linguistic barriers, sensitivity of safeguarding related information, time and financial constraints. Also, intercultural communication theory, social inclusion theory, and interculturality makes safeguarding effective through its fundamental principles of compliance, accountability, transparency, and cross-cultural. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Sylvester, for really being sharp. Okay, thank you for this explanation also of accountability, compliance, and transparency in the interculturality of safeguarding. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next presenters come from Indonesia, Irene and Christian. Thanks. So, yeah, please have, yes, maybe that the two sit together.
Good evening, everyone. We would like to thank you for still being here until the very last of this session. My name is Christian.
And my name is Irene Noviani. Both of us.
Mike.
Yes.
My name is Irene Noviani. Both of us are accountants who learn safeguarding issue through real-life experience.
We are going to share our paper titled An Internal Control Lens on Safeguarding, a Survivor Accountant Perspective on Transparency, Accountability, and Compliance in Intercultural Church Context.
Abuse cases are more than moral failures. They are governance failures. This study shifts the focus to an audit-style international control framework. The main objective is to demonstrate how safeguarding failures in intercultural contexts often follow patterns familiar in weak church governance systems, such as absence of documentation trails, unclear responsibility ownership, conflict of interest in internal investigation, and inconsistent compliance with external legal standards. The project asks, how can safeguarding be strengthened when viewed through internal control logic rather than purely pastoral or disciplinary lens? Drawing on the author background in accounting and governance controls, the study reframes safeguarding through three fundamental principles: transparency, accountability, and compliance using an audit-style control framework. Methodology. This study used a qualitative longitudinal analysis of multi-year survivor case journey involving multiple church authorities, different countries, and cultural layers. The experience is mapped into a map safeguarding control matrix similar to audit and risk control frameworks, identifying control objective, risk indicators, control failures, and required corrective safeguards. Intercultural factors, including clericalism, hierarchy, reputation protection culture, and cross-border jurisdiction, are analyzed as systemic risk multipliers. The survivor case timeline as a background of this paper that began in 2014, and the reporting process still ongoing until now. Between 2014 and 2016, the events occurred, and the survivor first reported the case to an international public association based in France, of which the perpetrator was a member of that association, as well as to the diocese in Indonesia, under whose jurisdiction the perpetrator was registered. And in 2018, the perpetrator had been dismissed from the International Public Association based in France, and the case was transferred to a diocese in Indonesia. In 2019, the survivor was finally able to contact the bishop of the diocese under whose the perpetrator's jurisdiction was registered to inquire about the progress of the investigation. However, the bishop subsequently ceased communication with the survivor, leaving her uninformed about the status of the case. Then, during this period of limited transparency, it becomes known that the perpetrator had allegedly manipulated several other women victims. The survivor then appointed a civil lawyer, and because she resided in another diocese, also reported the case to the bishop of her local diocese on her own initiative. Then in 2020, her bishop advised the survivor to submit a report to the Apostolic Nunciature in Indonesia rather than pursue the matter through a civil lawyer. Unfortunately, the Apostolic Nunciature never responded to the responded letter. The bishop who had been the leader of the perpetrators' diocese passed away in 2023, and in 2024, when Pope Francis visited Indonesia, the survivor had opportunity to write a letter to him regarding the case. And in 2025, the survivor was interviewed by the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors. Subsequently, the new bishop, who had succeeded the late bishop, informed the survivor that there were no record or no archives relating to her case or any investigation of it. Then, most recently, finally, Michaud from Aachen, Germany, supported the survivor by commissioning a canon lawyer to review the handling of the case entirely. Okay. This is the summary of the survivor case timeline.
And now let's take a look at the internal control concept and framework as applied to Let's see it from the framework of internal control applied to the survivor's case. So if this conference was started by a pizza, so let's now see the analogy of pizza. Let's say we have an objective to make a delicious pizza. So we have an objective. And then secondly, we have ingredients of pizza, which are flour, olive oil, and etc. And then thirdly, we have parts of pizza. We have the toppings and the bottom and so on. So in COSO cube, we also have 3 dimensions. At the top, we have the objectives to make delicious pizza, which are operations objectives, reporting objectives, and compliance objectives. And then at the front, we have 5 ingredients of pizzas, which are control environment, risk assessment, and so on. And then on the right dimension, we have the part of pizzas, which are entity level, division, and so on. So now let's see the objectives first. In operation objectives, the main issues are about effectiveness and efficiency of entities' operations, including safeguarding of assets. And if we reflect to the survivor's case, we could see that there was poor safeguarding of congregation members in the church operations. In the reporting objectives, we could see that there was no transparency for years to some stakeholders of the church. In compliance of objectives, we could see that there was no compliance to Vos Estis Lux Mundi, as there was no written safeguarding protocol in the diocese of the survivors. And then let's see the internal control components of and applied to the survivor's case. Control environment is about the commitment to integrity and ethical values, about independence to oversight internal control. But if we see in the survivor's case, there was no independence when clergy investigates clergy cases because there was conflict of interest. And then secondly, there's risk assessment. Thirdly, the component is about control activities. It is about policies and procedures to mitigate risk to the achievement of objectives. But in the survivor's case, we could see that there's no clear safeguarding protocols in the diocese. And then information and communication, we could see in the case that there was no case archives. The history of the case was missing in action. And then about monitoring activities are concerned with evaluation used to ascertain whether each of the 5 components of internal control are present and functioning. But we could see that without goodwill, knowledge, and control framework, it is impossible to implement safeguarding in the dioceses and in the church. And in internal organization level, in the case, we could see that internal control mechanisms within the church, if any, were poorly implemented, both at the highest level of authority, which was represented by the Apostolic Nunciature in Indonesia, and at the diocesan level. And besides the internal control weaknesses, the survivor also realized that there were systemic and intercultural risk multipliers that make the case worsen. And they are clericalism, secrecy, and complexity. And there are some safeguarding impacts because of the case. Firstly, because of the lack of transparency, there was loss of survivor trust to the church. Because of lack of accountability, there was delayed justice and more victims fell. And because of lack of compliance, there was systemic breach of universal standards. And this is parts of the letters of the survivor to the Holy Father, Father Francis, Pope Francis.
And according to legal and canon law review on this entire case, there have been punishable acts of sexual violation and denial of the survivor right to information. After conducting a comprehensive analysis of this case, the following are strategic recommendations that the author can offer. First, involving audit and compliance professionals from lay people. The second, unifying minimum standard for intercultural case handling. The third, implementing internal control frameworks. And the fourth, involving survivor in assessing system effectiveness. Then, the path that we need to see forward is the transition from a clerical discretion model to verifiable governance model, restoring the wounded lamb's true truth. Ensuring transparency is the institutional default, upholding justice as the measure of health. Then, that is what we can share with you this evening. Thank you for listening us.
Thank you very much, Irene and Christian, for this very concrete example how difficult a reporting process can be. Okay, we have now some time. We will not do it too long for some questions. So you may address the two from Indonesia or Father Sylvester. Please be precise and short in your questions.
Good afternoon, Francisco Cardenas from the United States. Thank you, Irene, for your presentation. My question is directed at you. Based on your presentation and the process that you planned out and described for all of us, would you think that the presence of leadership and authority in conversations like this is paramount to implement what you just proposed? So in other words, having the more presence of decision makers within the Catholic Church present here?
Yeah. So actually, we are not safeguarders. We learn safeguarding through life experience. So we are sorry if our answer is not fully correct, but I think from our understanding, leadership is very important in safeguarding, because for example, if the leader is this high, then safeguarding can go this high. But if the leader has increased her leadership this high, the safeguarding can go as high as the leadership level. That's what my understanding.
Thank you very much. I see a hand here, left. The lady in the green. What, was that a hand? Please show clearly. No, was not a hand. Okay. Okay, I see here 1, 2. First here in the middle, and then we go.
One is to Father, sorry, I forget your name. Okay. When you mentioned that there are new trends and global trends to make these more imminent, what do you mean? Because you don't have enough time to explain. And then the other question to two of you. I realize that in Indonesia, the Catholic population is very small and not very large. And when you explain the culture, you mentioned that the clergy, the security, I think sometimes, the Asian, East Asian country and South Asia share the similar situation because we are so small, so they want to pretend we are very purified. Our Catholic Church, the faith is really, much more intelligent or whatever, so than other religions. So most of the culture, the lay people and the priesthood just try to cover. This is typical mentality or social psychology maintained in the Catholic Church. So do you notice the similar, as I felt in my country? Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I will be very short. You know that there's any policy that's eternal. Periodically, we have to review policy. Why? Because culture is static and moving. We let us go to the background of our family backgrounds, where people were born, and to today. Check. Our families is not the same. Safeguarding last year is not the same today. Things are changing. The war of Iran, inflation everywhere in the world, we have been affected. COVID, we have been affected. Things are changing. COVID, we learned from COVID that even from the house, you can work. Before, we had to gather to work. But COVID taught us a lot. So things are moving. Therefore, cultures is moving. The static and moving. And the policies also have to be adapted to culture. That's why there's no policy that's eternal. Periodically, you have to review policy. Yeah. Thank you. Are you satisfied?
We go to the question up there in the last line.
Thank you very much, Father Sylvester, for your presentation. My name is Nuhu Bala. I'm a student of the IADC and also from Nigeria. I believe the presentation on effectiveness of interculturality, of safeguarding through its principle of accountability, transparency and compliance should come from maybe context somewhere around Sierra Leone. I'm a bit concerned from my own side. I do not know more about Sierra Leonean culture, but in my own context, we have the problem of contextual multiculturality. Now, I give you an example. We celebrate Mass. For instance, I wake up to celebrate Mass on Sunday morning. I'm thinking on how to celebrate 3 Masses in 3 different languages. How does that help me, for instance, to interpret the culture of the people in my policy, in what I do in safeguarding? So in this, how does, multiculturality affect these principles of compliance, transparency, and accountability? Thank you.
Multicultural safeguarding affects principles. I just said that we live in a world where everything is changing. In the beginning, I said that there's no culture that is static. Therefore, every society which does not take into account the diversity of culture, you can't be successful when you come. Peter just presented something very nice this evening. How one way of thinking can't be successful, can't liberate people. We need to bring together many ways. It does not mean that we accept any kind of standard, but your way of thinking had to be criticized when it enters into contact another culture. So you have to listen. Sister said this morning, Joseph, you have to listen where you go. You have to listen to others. Why? You just go with your own way of thinking that they should change by force. No. You have to be creative also in the matter of liturgy. You talk about liturgy. You have to be creative. It does not mean that the way of thinking, people love their culture. Culture defines society. Where you go, you have to listen to the culture. And Sister said this morning, you have to create new mechanism to see how to improve what is there. No culture is perfect. So safeguarding, when we go there, we have to see what is in the ground, listen to that culture, and improve it. It's another way of incorporation. Yeah.
One, two, and then we will slowly also come to a close.
I am Agnes from the Philippines and a student here. Mine is not a question, but a deep and sincere appreciation to Irene and Christian. Although you were saying that you are not much of the background of safeguarding, but I sincerely appreciate you for giving us a clear example and process of how organizations become contributors to victimizations. What I'm trying to say is we are learning that vulnerance, the capacity of organization to contribute to the victimizations, you have given us a clear example and the how-to in addressing it. Thank you very much for that.
Last question.
Hello, I'm Sarah Gladwell from the UK. Thank you to all three speakers. My question is to Irene and to Christian, our colleagues from Indonesia. The kind of scenario that you described with the survivors' barriers to transparency, I was wondering if you could say a little more around the emotional impact from your experience on survivors who experience these kind of barriers, and I'm thinking particularly around the idea of re-traumatization.
Can you please repeat?
Sorry, there's a bit echo, sorry.
Of course, I'm thinking about the emotional impact on a survivor who experiences such barriers to transparency that you described. I'm thinking about re-traumatization of survivors for whom it is so difficult to get answers from the church.
Yes, I have a lot emotional impacts from the beginning, but because of this is a long process journey, finally I got like normal. I think normal because I have to face this situation, and because I'm thinking if I trap in the emotional zone, I cannot move on. And that's why I'm trying to analyze the process and then learn about the safeguarding. Basically, in 2020, when the bishop asked me to drop the civil lawyer, I asked him about the procedure. But I don't know at the time that the name is safeguarding. I don't know. But until now, unfortunately, the safeguarding what he promised, I never seen the procedure. I just want to know the procedure because I feel as a survivor, I come to the church authority and then move to another, the another one, A, B, C, D. I was confused. My question is, do I take the wrong step or do I report to the wrong authority? I don't know. That's why I asked about the procedure. But unfortunately, until this day, I have not yet seen that procedure. Yeah, if the question is emotional, yes. At the beginning, for a few years, I got the emotional tension, and I handled by psychiatry for a few years until I move on for my my negative emotional zone. This is the long process, and until this day, thanks God that I can still stand here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you, Irene, Christian, and Sylvester very much for presenting these realities, which again show us the difficulties, the culture of silence, which is, I guess, part of any culture in any country also, which is driven by different factors. And then coming in the institutional leadership levels, which are not so open for transparency. So thank you very much. I think we have had today a very full day, and you deserve a break now. And at 7 o'clock is, at 6:30 is the conference closing dinner. So you are most welcome for the closing dinner. Okay, thank you for your participation, and let's give them again a clap. The dinner is outside where the snacks are, outside.